Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Lumapix Lunch and Learn for our updated online yearbook fusion. My name is Sarah Lucas and I will be hosting today's session. During the session, if you have any questions, please enter them in the GoToMeeting chat window. I will do my best to answer all your questions before the end of today's Lunch and Learn. If I have not answered all the questions, I will be sending out a follow-up email later today that will include all Q&As as well as any related training documents. So let's get started. So to access the YearbookFusion online program, the website is the same for everybody. So it's up here in the top left, https://books.lumapix.com. Once the page loads, you will have a sign-in screen where you would then enter your user ID. I'm signing in at a school level. If you enter your publisher ID, even the school will get prompted for a password. Now the main difference here is because I'm signed in with the school, it's taking me straight to the book ladder. If you sign in with your publisher user ID, once you enter your password, you'll actually get a list of your schools where you can then select the school and you will be redirected to their ladder. So first we're going to take a look at the tabs across the top. So the book tab is your home screen where you'll see the ladder and the cover tab. So we'll take a closer look at this shortly. Then we have our Photos tab. This is where you can come to manage the Dropbox account where you can upload photos. So there's a Dropbox folder. You can just click on it to go in, and then you can either use the Add Images button over in the right-hand corner here, or if you wanted to, you can add some folders so that you can structure everything in here a bit better. So you right-click, New Directory, and then a folder will be created. You can right-click and rename the folder to whatever you need it to be. Above here, there's also a website. This will change for every folder that you're in. So currently I'm just in the main Dropbox folder. So if I go into the concert folder, I will have a different link. This link can be used for uploading images as well. What you can do is copy this link into an email or Skype or anything like that and send it to people that aren't part of the yearbook team. So say you had a mom come forward saying, you know, I was at the Christmas concert, got tons of wonderful pictures. I want to give you some to potentially use in the yearbook. You don't have to give her access to the yearbook. All you would need to do is send this link to her. She can then open it and she'll see almost all of the screen, but she won't have the tabs across the top. She'll just have this gray area in the folder structure and the Add Images. So once it loads, she can just come to the Add Images. A file browser will open where you can then browse the machine that you're on and add some photos. If you have several in a row, you can click on one and then hold your Shift key to highlight them all, or you can use your Control key to select multiple images that are not side by side. Once you've selected some, you can click the Open button, and the ones that are waiting their turn to upload are marked as pending. And as you can see, ones that are uploading are marked as such, and there's a progress bar. The images do take a moment or two to upload because it is being saved to the remote storage that is part of this program. Once images have been uploaded to the Dropbox account, anybody with the user ID for that particular school can access those images and use them in the book. So next we'll take a look, a very quick look at our Portraits tab. This is where you will import the PSPA for your portrait pages. We'll walk through that in a few minutes here. We'll look at our Team tab. This is where you can create up to 40 additional team member user IDs, and they can actually be different access levels as well. So to create a team member, you'd click the Add Team Member button, and then just fill out the information. The fields that are optional is the email field, but there must be a team member ID, password, first name, last name, and role. So I'll quickly create one. And then here's our role level. We have 4 different levels to choose from. If you're not sure what the different roles are, you can click on what role should I choose link. Green check marks mean the role can do that. The red X's mean it can't. So in the environment where you have a team with children, so like middle school or high school, you might want to look at using the editor level because it restricts what they can do. The editor level is all they can do is edit assigned pages. They'll see the whole book, but everything that they're not allowed to edit will be kind of dulled out, but they can only edit the pages they've been assigned to. But as you can see, you can create another co-manager who will have full access, an advisor that will have full access in the creating and editing of a book, but they can't create team members. And then a senior editor can edit any page, but they can't move them around in the ladder, so they can't make page 1 turn into page 5. So I'm going to hit OK and select editor. Enable needs to have a check mark in it. Confirmation email is a way to send them the website to the online book and the user ID. So I'm just going to click no and select Save Changes. Oh, so it's saying it contains invalid characters. That's because I put a space in there, so there can be no spaces in the team member user ID. Similar to when you're creating the school user IDs in RepAdmin. So here is the team member. As you can see, if you need to make any changes, there is an edit option, and there is also a delete option for removing somebody. Next, we'll take a look at our admin tab. This is where the schools can come and select the form factor, so the book size and type. They simply select the edit. You'll have your options and select Save Changes. They can also turn the page numbering on and off. The default setting is on. Page limit. So the 0 is how many pages you have, so we haven't done any yet, so it's 0. And then right now it's an infinity sign. So how you can get a number there is when you set them up in RepAdmin, there is a page count field. If there's nothing entered there, your schools will have an infinity sign here. So if you want them to know, hey, we've agreed upon a book of 60 pages, the 60 needs to be entered in the page count in RepAdmin. We'll come back and take a look at the page overview because as we progress, a pie chart will appear with different colored sections that I can show you. So for now, we'll go back to the book tab and take a closer look at things there. The default setting is for the ladder to be built in a vertical position. You can change the view here, and then you'd see the book being built in a horizontal position. Here's our cover tab, and this is where you can come to create your cover. So to get started, you would use the Add Pages button here, and as you can see, there's a few options. Blank is how you can actually get a blank page. So you'd name the page or section. You can make it more than one page, or you can leave it as one. Double pages is how you would make it a double page spread. You can also create more than one section at a time. I'm going to make that 2 pages. Select Create, and just allow a moment for it to create the pages and put them in the remote storage as well. So as you can see, we now have 3 pages, and when I hover over them, the name of the page displays across the top, and at the bottom is a status. So red is not started. And the color for the status of the page will also reflect down the sidebar. So we'll go to Add Pages, and this time we're going to take a look at our templates. We have 3 different categories. Basic. So these are just starting points. They're more like skeletons. So there's no decoration. It's just basic text boxes and empty image frames. And the templates are not locked down, so you can find one that's close to what you're looking for. And then say it's got a couple too many image frames, you can delete those. So it's just a nice starting point. Then we have our complete yearbooks. These are pre-decorated templates that have matching backgrounds and clip art and fonts, and they can be used to create an entire yearbook if you like. You don't have to use all of them in one folder. You can use one, you can use them all, or you can use none. It's entirely up to the schools. So take a look, and when you find a category that looks interesting, you can go in and take a closer look at the templates. Once you find a template that you want to use, you can either click and drag, or you can use the Add to Book button. And as you can see now on the right-hand side, it has been added to our ladder. The other type of templates we have are themed pages. So again, these are pre-decorated, but these are all theme specific, such as seasons or holidays or school themes. And we even have some that are yearbook specific type topics as well. So you can browse around and find any that might catch your eye, and again, just use the Add to Book or click and drag. So to rearrange pages on the ladder, it's just clicking and dragging them around. So I don't want this template here, I want it at the bottom. So I'm going to drag it until I see those 2 arrows. There, and it has been switched. Another way to add a template, so when I hover over this one, you can see its file name is a little bit of internal gibberish. So if you were an editor and you've been assigned to the principals page, you can also use the templates by going in and finding one that suits you, and then clicking and dragging it onto the page. You'll get the warning. You can say yes, and it will now replace what's there. But as you can see, the name of the page is still Principal's page. So when I hover over these pages, you'll see a menu pop up on them. So let's take a closer look at that. When the first icon is our edit section, so that's how we'll open the page up so that we can decorate it, which we'll look at in a moment. The next option is how you can create a copy of this page. So say you've pre-decorated it a bit and you want it to be replicated throughout the book, you can use the create a copy as many times as you need. Assign this page for editing. So this is where you can assign the pages. So we created user 1 that right now has not been assigned any pages. So if it signed in, it would have no pages to work on. So I can click on this icon, select user 1, and it will refresh, and you'll see a little 1 appear beside the silhouette. But now when user 1 signs in, these pages will be kind of dulled out a bit, but this one will be nice and vibrant, and they'll be able to open it into edit mode. Next is remove this section from the book. If this is selected, it's simply removing the page from the ladder. It does not delete it entirely. So if you accidentally delete it from the ladder, or you did it on purpose but then change your mind, you can come to the Add Pages, go to My Sections, and that's going to open up remote storage. And there's our pages so far. And you can simply, again, use the Add to Book or click and drag. For schools that are returning schools, so they were used the program last year, they will have multiple options under the school year. So the default is 2015-16, the current year, but you can click the drop down and switch it to 2014-15, and you will see items that were used the previous year. Or you can view everything all at once, but I like to keep it separate. If you come here and you right-click on a project and hit this delete button, you can no longer access that page. It is been deleted. Luckily, as a safety net, we have created a remote storage here, a recycle bin here at Lumapix. So if you accidentally delete something from the My sections, a quick email or quick phone call, and we can get it restored to you. Okay? So the next option is our preview. So you can click on the view preview and it actually opens the page into a larger view for closer examination. And then we have submit this page to be reviewed. If you have multiple people working on the yearbook and you want to have a process where whoever creates it then has to submit it for review, this is how it can be done. So next, let's take a closer look at editing pages. So I'll select the Edit This section. And it'll take a moment to open because it's communicating with remote storage. The speed of YearbookFusion Online can be different for different users because it will operate differently based on each person's internet quality. So as you can see, we now have the page. So this is our canvas. The white area is our safe area. So we want everything important to be within the white. If it starts to creep into this light gray border, that's a bit okay, but you definitely don't want it going out into the dark gray area because that's the bleed. That's where it's all going to get cut off. So we have our menu on the left. You can change language. You can zoom in and out, reset it back to this current position. The program does auto-save, but if you've done some work and you just want to be extra careful, we do have a save button. We also have undo and redo if you want to add a blank image frame or add a text frame. So let's add a text frame and we'll take a closer look at managing text. So to move the frame around, it's simply just clicking and dragging. And to resize it, you can just click and drag the handles. There we go. And when you're on the text box, you'll see that we have a menu open on the right-hand side. So the little pencil here is our properties. And you can instantly begin typing, and you'll see the changes come live on your canvas. This is where you can adjust the font size, the font type, the alignment, the font color, and the font shadow can be turned on and off. The font shadow can even have a different color, and so on. In the properties is also this frame tab. Again, this is where you can make some adjustments to the shadow, such as the angle and the offset, like so. If you make changes to these sliders, you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's some little buttons. These are reset buttons. So once you make a change, if you don't like it, you can select the reset and it'll put it back to the original state. These frame sliders will actually change the shape and size of the text frame. So I'll just drag the width, and as you can see, the frame is now getting smaller. And I realized that I forgot the E on everyone. So I can go back to the text tab and add that on. So now let's take a look at getting images. You have a couple options. You can log into a Facebook account, so Facebook Photos, sign in with an account. This won't bring up the full Facebook, it's just going to access images that are associated with the Facebook account that you sign in with. You can then use your Photos button here, and this allows you to access images that are on the computer you're working on, but it also pulls up the Dropbox account. So you go into the folder, and from here you can't drag the images on the canvas. Once you're in a folder, you'll see up at the top there in the image tools that the images reflect up there. You can then come to this bar and click and drag an image onto the canvas. The image has the same handles as our desktop software, so the blue for resizing, our yellow for panning, and cropping. So I'm dragging the sun to reposition the image. And it also has the rotate handle so that you can angle the frame. When we're on the image, you'll see the bar on the right-hand side. And now that we have more than one item on the canvas, we also have the move to top and above, under, and to bottom options. So I'll just drag my text box. So as of right now, you can see that the text box is under the image. So I can use the move to top, and it is now over the image. So those options won't appear till you have more than one item on the canvas. In the menu for images, we also have rotate image, or do a horizontal or vertical flip. So these are actually making the image change within the frame. So the frame will stay in one position and just the image will change. If you want to remove the image but keep the frame, that is the remove image. If you want to delete the frame altogether, that's the remove frame. And then we have our properties. The image channel adjustments, red, green, blue, and the opacity. This is the color of the image. So as you can see, it's gone really red. Don't like that? Select the reset. Image effects, you can make it black and white, adjust the sepia, brightness, contrast, and so on. The frame tab is where you can adjust the height and width and rotation of the frame. The border of the frame, we can turn it on and give it a blue border. And we can even change the shape. And then we also have our shadow options as well. So once you're done decorating your page, you can then come up to the top right-hand corner and select Save and Close. It will take a moment and then you'll be redirected to the booked ladder. Give it a moment and as you can see, it will update the page. One thing I'd like to point out, originally all our pages did have red lines saying not started, whereas now 3 of them, because we've used a template or we did some work, have now been marked as in progress, and you can see the color changes down the side as well. So I'll go back to the admin tab, and under page overview you can now see that we have a pie chart, and it's showing the percentage that's not started, in progress, and it would show submitted for review and approved if we had any marked with those statuses. And as you can see, our page limit is now up to page 4. So next, let's take a look at our Portraits tab. This is where you can import the PSPA. So I'll click on Import Portraits. I will select the I have a PSPA index. So step 1 is finding the text document that comes in the PSPA. Just bear with me while I get to my folder. There we go. There's my index file. So I simply select that. And as you can see, it does reflect the data. And here you should always pause to take a moment to review the column headers compared to the data that's listed below it. For example, if I look at the fourth column here, it says grade, which is great, and then last name and first name. Everything's looking good so far. Groups. Okay, I happen to know that this is not homeroom, it's department. So I'm going to change that. You can also scroll down and take a look. Oh, that has salutations in it. So that's not the period, it is the salutation. And I also know that this is the priority information, so I'm going to change that to priority. So once reviewed, we are happy. You can go ahead and click Next. Now this is where you can add the photos. You have two choices. You can use the Add Photos button. If you have a single folder, I recommend this method because you can go into the folder, select all your images, and hit Open. If you have multiple folders like I do, you're going to have to go in and out of each folder, which can be, a little annoying. So the other way, when you have multiple folders, is to open a file browser and go to the PSPA file. Select the folders that contain the images, and then click and drag to the same area in the online program. And there you go. It automatically throws in all the images. So these red dots mean they haven't been uploaded yet. So I'm now going to say Start Upload, and it tells me how many files that I have and how many have uploaded. I'm just working with a small PSPA because it will take a moment here because it is being uploaded to remote storage. And again, the speed will be affected based on a person's internet quality. So we'll just give that a moment to run through. And as you can see, as an image has been successfully uploaded, the red dots are being turned to green and the names now reflect below the images. While they're loading, I'll answer a couple questions that have been asked. April, you asked, can a non-yearbook user who uses the web link see all the photos in the folder, even the ones they didn't post? Yes. If the link is given to a parent who's not part of the yearbook team, they can see all the photos, but all they can do is view and then upload. They can't edit, they can't download, they can't do anything except submit photos. And so they will see others, but they can't take them in anyway. Denise asked, will team members from last year still be in this book or erased and need to be re-entered? Excellent question. I haven't had that one before. I'm gonna have to double check, so I'll let you know 100% in the follow-up email, but I have a funny feeling that yes, they'll still be there, and then people that are gone you can delete, and if there's new people you can add them, but I'm going to double check that, so please watch for the follow-up email with a confirmation to that answer. And Vicky mentions that the PSPA folders with images have index files for each folder. Is that okay when copying the folders to the drop-in upload? Yes, that's fine. So when you select multiple folders like I did and dragged it into the upload area, if they have any other file type in there other than JPEGs, so such as its own little index, you'll get an error message up at the top here. It'll be red. It'll just say there's an unknown file type. That's fine. There'll be a little red X in the right-hand corner here that you can just select acknowledging that, but it will still work. Okay, so my upload is done. I know that because everybody's green. It says 74 out of 74, and it says upload finished. So we'll click here to view the portraits. So we're still on the Portraits tab. It's now just giving us a different view because we now have information. So everybody's in a list. We have a nice search over here in the right-hand corner. So if you need to find somebody, you can type and it brings up that person. You can search by any attribute. It doesn't have to be just a last name. So if you want to see all the grade 2s, the thing is, it's also going to search like other fields that may contain that information. So we can also play with the headers. So if we want to sort by grade, we can click grade and it will group them all together, like so. This is where you would come and make any changes, such as spelling corrections, or Billy was in one class and he's now been changed to another class. I will show you how to do that in a moment because that coincides with how panels update once you make a change. So let's go ahead to creating a panel and then I'll show you how to edit people after. So we'll now go back to the book tab. We'll go to our add pages and this time we're going to select the portrait option. So we have to give the project a name, so I'm just going to say the grade 1 class. And then this is where you choose the portraits that you would like to display. So it can be a certain teacher, or it can be a grade, or it can be any of the options that are listed based on the data. So I'm going to say, give me a portrait page with my grade 1s. 18 portraits. Great. Label options. So the default is first name, last name. Perfect. I'm happy with that. These are the sorting options. So if priority is filled out, the default will be priority last name, first name. If priority is not filled out, the default will just be last name, then first name. And you can change it. They are drop-down menus. Now this is where you can choose the layout. So if you want to take a look at our template field, these are all the options. All the layout options we offer in the online program does have the labels under the images. Featured images is how you can have one or more. And then as you can see, we have some numbers down here. So it's telling us we have 18 portraits altogether. And based on the layout of 5x5, it's going to create one page with 18 on the page. If I pick a smaller layout, let's say I did a 3x3. 18 portraits altogether. A 3x3 creates 3 pages with 9 per page. But on the last page, there's only 3 images. So it kind of helps you do a bit of the math to figure out what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go back to my 5x5 and select Create Portrait section. This will just take a moment because it's pulling information from the Portraits tab, saving to remote storage, and creating the page all at once. And once it's done creating it, it automatically opens it in the Edit view. So there we go. There's our panel. We could now decorate it if we wanted. When it comes to updating the panel, so what you want to do is get the data as 100% accurate as possible, because let's say little Jeff here actually prefers to go by Jeffrey, so his name needs correcting. If I decorate the page right now, so I'll go to my photos and I'll back out and go to the clip art folder. So this is how you access your clip art. Once you're in a folder with items, they'll reflect up top. There. So I gave it a background. Now I'm going to save my changes, but we're going to go back to the Portraits tab and fix Jeffrey because it currently says Jeff. Let's just save and close. And we'll go to the portrait. So I'm going to search for him by his last name, which was Bones. So you have a couple ways of editing him. You can click, select Edit, which is a good option more for when you're doing a bulk edit. For an individual edit, you can actually just double click and then make the change and select apply. If you want to do a bulk edit, you can select the people that you need to, like so. Edit, and then make the changes here, and it will apply them to all the people that you have put a check mark in. Okay, so I'm also actually going to add Mr. Winkler to the grade 1 class as well. So you always want to look for that OK after you hit apply there. All right, so we've made some changes, so we're now going to go back to the book tab. So to actually get those changes to apply to the page, we'll need to open it into edit mode. But how I know I have changes that I need to apply is when it refreshes, you see that there's a yellow hazard symbol now above the page. I'm like, oh, okay, something's up with that page. So I can open it into edit mode. And if you look up here in the left-hand area, there's a couple options. One, you can change the layout if you want. Great. You can change the number of featured images. Wonderful. But now it says status out of sync. So that's how I'm going to update the page. So I'll click this little refresh symbol. It gives you a warning. You're about to refresh. It will apply the changes. Are you sure? Yes. Bob Winkler has been added, and he's been added there because I gave him a priority of 4. Jeff Bones is now Jeffrey. And up in the top here, it says status is up to date. So let's make a couple other changes. Let's do 2 featured images. Again, you'll get the same confirmation. Give it a moment to think. There we go. We want to change the layout. Let's go for a 4x3. It will take a moment. And as you can see down at the bottom bar now, we now have the number of pages necessary to accommodate the class. And they all have the same background. So that's how you can work with the portraits. The images can be selected so that you can crop if need be, but they can't be clicked and dragged around. The names can be edited here as well, but then it's out of sync with the database. So I recommend always making updates on the Portraits tab. To change the header, it's just a text box, so you can click on it, open the properties, and make the changes, like so. Once we're done, we can hit save and close, and when we go back to the book ladder, it will refresh, and we will now have the 4 pages for the grade 1 class. So say we were done with the grade 1 class, I can now do the submit this page for review. So if I was a student working on it, so that's just the 1 page. So I would have to go to each page that is ready for review. So as you can see on the sidebar here, the little indicators for each page are changing color. And let's leave the first page there as not ready for review because it's kind of plain. So we can now go back to the admin tab and we'll see that the pie chart has been updated and our page limit has also changed. So that is our Yearbook Fusion online program for the 2015-2016 school year. If you have any questions, please enter them in the chat window and I'd be happy to answer them. can you email the pages? No, they can't be emailed. On the admin tab, there is yearbook submission. It's marked as coming soon, but what is coming is a proofing section where you could generate a proof. And that is also where the upload to publisher feature will be, Denise. So yeah, on the admin tab, yearbook submission, they must have a couple final touches to put on it. But it was there, I did see it, so that will be there. How can we avoid more than one student working on the same page? Excellent question. So when I hover over these pages, I get the full menu. If somebody was signed into it, that whole menu wouldn't show. If you bear with me, I'll actually go into edit mode there. And then I'm actually going to pull up a new tab and sign in so that I can show you what I mean. So just bear with me while I switch around. Okay, so I have two, I'm signed in twice. One, I'm in the edit mode for these pages. So now I'm somebody else and I'm signed in over here. When I hover over them, they don't have the usual menu. You can view a preview, you can delete it, but you'll get a warning. But then the first icon here, it says this page is currently being edited by. You can click on it and it says you can unlock it, but it's giving you a warning. And I don't encourage that to be done lightly. If something's locked, communicate and make sure that they're not in it, because if they are and you unlock it, they'll lose their work. April's asking if the proofing option will allow them to make a PDF of the entire book, or will they be able to select specific pages to export to a PDF? Last I saw for the proofing is it's all digital. It's actually not a PDF. It's it's different than this preview window, but it's similar. As of right now, the only people that have the PDF creating capabilities are publishers. Do I have any other questions from anyone? All right, so I don't see any other questions popping up, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us at publishersupport@lumapix.com or give us a call. Thank you for attending, and I hope you all have a great day.